Hi, I'm Jeff Tackney.
I'm Jen Tackney.
And we're
Team
TeamTackney.
Tackney. Today we have Josh Lindsay. He's a general contractor and also on the Planning Commission for the City of Garden Grove. And what are we going to talk about today, Jeff?
We are going to talk about ADUs and JADUs and the difference between the two.
Awesome. Josh.
Hi.
Hi.
How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic.
Hanging in there. Hanging out with two of my favorite people.
Aw, you're so sweet.
Yes, we love Josh. We actually were able to help you. He's actually one of our past clients as well, and his wife are just the best. We love them, and so we're so grateful to have you on our little mini show today. We want to shout out to our subscribers. Last night at Concerts in the Park,
Hi, subscribers.
People were like, I subscribed to you, so I was very grateful. So sorry, back on squirrel. Oops. Back on topic. So Josh is just a wealth of knowledge about the city of Garden Grove. You grew up in Garden Grove.
I did.
What is your alma mater as far as a high school?
Bolsa Grande.
Bolsa Grande High School. Currently lives in Garden Grove.
I do.
Has constructed a ton of homes, remodels, additions in Garden Grove.
Yep.
So we're going to let's talk first about what is an ADU, an accessory dwelling unit. Let's talk about that, and then what is a junior ADU, and how many currently are being built in the city of Garden Grove?
I had that discussion the other day, and it's well over, I want to say well over 1,000 in Garden Grove. Garden Grove currently has 40% of the ADUs in Orange County the last time I checked on that.
Wow. And would you say why is that?
For one, we have a majority of our city, we have very big lots. Demographic also plays a role in it, and just the current climate of multi-generational families and the costs of things and the current climate, the cost of things for people to get into a starter home isn't as easy as it used to be.
No.
Makes perfect sense.
So you have multi-generations being able to live in the same property, but still have
their own
some
space.
Separate space.
Yes,
Yep.
correct.
Got it.
And I know we did another video on just an ADU, just the two of us, Jeff and I talked about what an ADU is. What we didn't talk about is what a junior ADU is. So can you explain to us what is a junior ADU?
A junior ADU is a junior accessory dwelling unit. It is taking what would be considered non-habitable space and turning it into habitable space.
Such as
a garage conversion, taking an existing family room and converting that into a living space. If you had, let's say, a proper enclosed patio cover that was permitted at the time, kind of key there.
Okay.
That you can convert that space into living space.
I have a question on that too. 'Cause
Absolutely.
you know how I'm full of questions. On the junior ADU, can it be a detached structure? Because I know typically the ADUs in the past originally were detached structures.
No, if I'm not mistaken, and obviously I didn't bring any notes with me or any of my literature, I'm just going off of the top of my head. I want to say that a JADU has to be part of the current living space or the current house that's there.
And that's what I think so too.
Part of
if I'm
the
not
attached
mistaken. Correct.
house.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's what I was thinking too.
Now, an attached garage can be converted.
Let's talk about garages for a second, because that seems to be a hot topic. Parking seems to be a hot topic with people, and what are we going to do with all of these houses whenever people start adding a house in the back and converting the family room or converting the garage? The state says that parking can't be a consideration whenever you're discussing ADUs.
Wow.
As far as the permitting process goes and the land use process goes. So in reality, you can take the garage and eliminate the garage. Not that many of us use our garages for parking our cars, but a lot of us do use them for storage. We use them to hang out in our man caves, what have you. But you can eliminate the 2 parking spots or 3 parking spots if you happen to have a 3-car garage, and convert the whole thing and fill up the street with parking, and there's nothing that anybody can really say or do about it.
Wow, and it used to be that if you were going to convert garage into living space, you'd have to construct a new garage, but that's no longer the case when it comes to
That's correct.
ADUs and JADUs.
That's correct.
Wow.
So it can be a hot topic issue, and that's the number one conversation that I get out of people, because I am approached on a regular basis with discussions about this topic. And it's, what about the parking? And the state says parking can't be a consideration. And the problem with the city saying, I don't want to follow the state's guidelines, is then the state takes over the permitting process. And the state's guidelines are much more open than the city's guidelines. We have very little local control on the subject, but what little local control that we have would be gone.
So the benefits to doing a junior ADU, and obviously that's the downside of it for the neighbors and for
Correct.
the neighborhood, is the
Correct.
parking. The benefits to doing a junior ADU is, of course,
You could have a built-in babysitter.
Yes.
Mom, dad, or mom and dad. Let's say that you're starting your family and just getting started. You could convert the garage into a studio apartment or a 1-bedroom apartment for them, and you could have built-in babysitters.
and you, I believe you mentioned too at one point when we were just discussing off camera that the requirement is that you have to live in the house, or can you tell us more about that?
Okay, so as far as the living arrangements go, whenever it comes to a JADU, the homeowner or the property owner has to live in one of the units.
Okay.
Okay, they don't have to stay in the main house. They can go to the JADU. And I'm going to bring ADUs into this briefly, and I know that we're going to have another discussion whenever just about ADUs. But they kind of go into with each other with where I'm going to go with this part of the conversation. We used to have R1 zoning. Okay, all of our single-family homes were R1 zoning.
Which is,
Residential single-family home.
so one house on one
unit.
parcel.
That's correct. Okay, then Newsom, we'll use the Emergency Housing Act of 2019. There's several of them. I want to say 40 different legislative things that have come down that have to do with land use and property and what have you. But as far as a JADU and an ADU goes, is we no longer have R1 zoning anymore. Basically, it is now all R3.
Wow.
Okay, so you can build an ADU in the back, detached or attached, and then you could convert the garage or non-habitable living space into a second unit. So realistically, you have 3 units on one house, on one single-family lot, if your lot size permits it.
I have a super question that just came up.
Go ahead.
What if we wanted to go up on a garage and create a junior ADU, or that would have to be an ADU if you're building new?
No, an ADU at the current within Garden Grove.
Yes, only Garden Grove.
Only Garden Grove, because different cities have adopted different control over how they do it. Cyprus, for example, you can build an ADU over a garage.
Okay.
Okay, if I'm not mistaken, in Cyprus, you can build a 2-story ADU.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay, that's not in Garden Grove. Garden Grove, it has to be a single story. You can't go above the garage.
Okay.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah, I was curious because some of us who watch regularly know we have in West Garden Grove those houses along Bartlett that back the golf course. So that would be, I feel like, a great place to have a unit above a garage,
Okay.
to have the view of the golf course. So that's where that came into my mind. Is
With that said, then the house that's there wouldn't have the view of the golf course anymore. So
Yeah.
it's a trade-off, and everything is a trade-off.
right. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for explaining junior ADUs.
Well, yes.
We appreciate you being here with us.
A wealth of knowledge.
Yes, thank you,
Thank
thank you. And if you guys like what you saw, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel below. and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.
Bye for now.
Bye.